All right, everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something most people would rather avoid? Like a pile of dirty laundry. We're talking city council meeting minutes, people.
Specifically from Montreal, August 19th, 2024.
The most thrilling read of the summer, am I right?
On the surface, maybe not the most exhilarating, but trust me.
Yeah. These minutes, they hold secrets. They tell us where the city's headed, how they're spending our hard-earned tax dollars, and what's keeping those city councilors up at night.
And buckle up, because we're not even looking at the original agenda. This is version 2, which replaced the one from August 8th.
Folks, someone was busy making changes. What's the deal with that? Last-minute additions. Spill the tea.
A significant number of them, which always makes you wonder what's going on behind the scenes.
Okay, so for those of us who haven't endured a 5-hour council meeting, lay it on us. What goes down in one of these things?
Well, typically it starts with public questions, your chance to grill the counselors. Then it moves into counselor inquiries where they poke around for information. And then the real fun begins, reports, contracts, approvals.
So it's like a carefully choreographed dance of bureaucracy.
Exactly. And we're here to find out who steps on whose toes.
Love it. So where do we even begin with this massive document?
Well, in this case, it seems like the real action, the part where we might see some sparks, is in sections 20 and 30, contractual affairs and administration and finance. Those sections saw the bulk of the last-minute changes.
Let's follow the money right. What kind of big-ticket items caught your eye?
One that jumps out immediately, snow removal.
Yes, the never-ending saga of Montreal winters. What's the damage this time?
We're seeing multiple contract renewals, which isn't unusual. But what's interesting is the hefty sum allocated for snow disposal.
More than just dumping it in the St. Lawrence River, I hope.
One would hope not. Snow disposal in Montreal. It's a logistical nightmare and an environmental tightrope walk. It's a costly endeavor, and these additional funds for disposal, well, they certainly raise some eyebrows.
Are we talking potential budget overruns down the road? Did they underestimate the costs initially?
Those are the million-dollar questions. We need to be asking those. And remember, it's not just about numbers. Inefficient snow disposal that can lead to environmental damage, traffic chaos, even public safety hazards if it's not handled properly.
Speaking of big expenditures, I noticed some serious cash being thrown at arena renovations. The Martin Lapointe Arena, the Pete Morin Arena, and don't even get me started on the Auditorium de Verdun. That's a whole lot of investment in hockey infrastructure.
It does seem to indicate a commitment to recreation and potentially positioning those facilities to attract sporting events and boost tourism.
Which, on the surface sounds great, but then you start to think about it like, are there better ways to spend that money? Are there more pressing needs?
Right. You always have to look at the trade-offs. Is this the best use of public funds when we have crumbling roads or schools bursting at the seams? Tough questions.
Speaking of tough questions, affordable housing. That's something else that caught my eye buried in these minutes. Item 20.22 mentions the city snapping up land for affordable housing.
And if we connect the dots here, look over at item 30.05. There's a rather substantial settlement being paid out. Could be related to that land acquisition.
So the city's buying up land, but it sounds like it might not have been a simple, here's an offer kind of deal.
Exactly. We might be talking expropriation here. The government's power to take private land for public use. It can get messy.
Messy how?
Think legal battles, lengthy negotiations with property owners, not always a smooth process. It makes you wonder why this particular piece of land was so crucial for affordable housing. Was there a fight? Did they have to pay a premium? Juicy stuff.
It's like a real estate drama unfolding in the middle of these city council minutes.
And speaking of drama, did you catch the part about all the permits?
You mean item 30.01? Extending alcohol permits and meeting permits for certain events? Yeah, what's that all about?
Sounds like someone's planning a party. Well, if you cross-reference that with item 20.01, it mentions increased police support for specific events. Put 2 and 2 together. Something big is going down. Something that needs late licenses, tight security. Maybe a festival. A massive concert. Intriguing, isn't it?
Very intriguing.
Oh, yeah.
Last detail that caught my eye, and this one's a bit offbeat. Item 30.08. Environmental studies for a new park sounds harmless enough.
Until you read the fine print, this park, they're planning on building it on a former waste disposal site.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Raises a whole bunch of red flags about contamination. How do you even begin to clean up a site like that? What are the long-term risks?
So much for a relaxing stroll in the park. More like a toxic picnic.
Hopefully not, but it definitely highlights the need for transparency. How are they mitigating those risks? What's the communication strategy with the public? These are crucial questions, especially when you're dealing with something as sensitive as contaminated land.
Absolutely. Okay, one last thing before we move on.
Yeah.
This one really made me do a double take, item 30.14. The city is expanding its authority over animal control, specifically mentioning dog bites and aggressive behavior.
Interesting. What's the story there? Has there been a spike in dog-related incidents? Are they trying to get ahead of a problem?
It does make you wonder, right? Is this the start of something bigger? Like a citywide crackdown on leash laws, or maybe a big public awareness campaign about responsible pet ownership?
Could be. It really underscores how these minutes, even though they seem dry as a bone, can actually reveal a lot about what the city's worried about, what's on their radar.
For sure. We started with this massive document full of jargon and legalese, and look at us now uncovering secret land deals, potential environmental disasters, even a possible dog-walking crackdown.
It's like urban archaeology, piecing together the city's future 1 minute at a time. What I find fascinating is how these seemingly small details, when you put them all together, they paint this picture of where Montreal's headed. We're talking infrastructure development, attempts to tackle affordable housing, a real concern for the environment.
And let's not forget the possibility of a giant street party, though we might be getting ahead of ourselves with that one.
Maybe, but that's what makes these deep dives so much fun, the what-ifs, the digging deeper.
Exactly. So for our listeners out there who might be thinking, why should I care about any of this? What's the takeaway message?
These city council meetings, as boring as they might seem, they have a real impact on your life. We're talking about how your tax dollars are spent, what projects get the green light, and ultimately what kind of city Montreal is going to be.
It's about transparency, right?
Yeah.
Holding our elected officials accountable, understanding the forces that shape our city.
Absolutely. And the more engaged citizens are, the more they dig into these documents, ask tough questions, the better equipped they are to participate in that process.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Montreal City Council, another minutes, we leave you with this. If something in this meeting caught your attention, don't just let it go. Do some digging. Explore the city's website. Show up at a council meeting. Make your voice heard. Because an informed citizenry, that's a powerful thing.
Well said. And remember, sometimes the most important questions are the ones that aren't answered in these minutes. It's in searching for those answers that we truly become active participants in shaping our city's future.
Beautifully put. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, Montreal.